There, my name is Bri Leever, your online community activator, and I write a lot about comparing different all-in-one platforms. And in this video, I'm going to show you just live activity of me setting up a community in 3 different platforms so that you can compare and contrast the usage of these platforms, but I can also show you some of the things that you'll want to anticipate as a community builder. Whereas if you're just going in yourself and testing out and playing around with their free trial, you might not know to anticipate certain issues that might pop up later on in your community, depending on which platform you choose and the design of your community. So I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm looking to test out and create a community for camper van owners here in Hawaii. So I've been thinking about starting this community to primarily bring camper van hosts together, but I'd also love to leverage it as a way to share free resources with guests and to collaborate with hosts to provide more resources, materials, and safety tips for our guests. So I'm testing it out. It's totally new, and I'm trying to figure out which platform I want to build it in. And I'm going to walk you through my process and show you Mighty Networks, Circle, and Heartbeat together. So I've already have communities kind of started in Heartbeat and Mighty Networks, which I'm going to get to in a second. But I wanted to just show you what it would look like if you were starting a community from scratch in Circle and how you would get started. So they have this lovely get started space over here, which is awesome. But I kind of know how I want to set up this community. I have it drafted in a note, which I'm going to pull up. But I would show you, so basically, as an admin, all of your settings for Circle are over here on the left. And each of these just takes you into this like generic setting space. So functionally, I really love like having all of my settings in one place where I can see them. It makes it easier for me to manage and find things. I'm able to generally find things pretty easily here. But what I will note is that Circle has like really expanded their settings, and I don't think that they've very thoughtfully like created a good user experience around accessing all of those settings. They like kind of added more drop downs here, which I think can be a little confusing. So I just like to go to settings, and now there's 2 layers of menus. There's members, there's this whole menu, and then there's like the drop downs within that menu. So sometimes it can be a little tricky to find what you're looking for, but not the worst experience. So I'm going to start here in general. This is not a private community because I want part of my community to be public to guests. I only want the host spaces to be private. So I do want to allow visitors to sign up through an application that I'm going to make separately. I have all my branding stuff here. My reply to email. It's fine if they switch to a different platform. So lots of other settings here. Nothing I feel, I want them to search engines to index. Oh, user profiles. Sure. Okay, so add all new members to these default spaces. Okay, so let's go back and I'll set up, really like the main thing with Circle is setting up your spaces over here. And I know I want to have, this is a space group. I know I want to have a welcome space group. This will be public to everyone. This is where I will start. So one thing about it that I don't love, oh, well, not right there, actually right here. So posts. I would like a post. So you can choose your different formats. You have posts of a space, posts, events, chat, course, and members. When you select posts, you have like additional options. So regarding the formatting, but they don't show you that right away, and they don't show you that here. You have to like click into the settings, and I don't like that experience because it's harder to find the formatting. It would make sense for that to show up here for me, but whatever. What am I calling this? Get started, or how to use this community. I want this in welcome. I want it to be open. I don't need people to get notifications. I can choose my custom icon there, but I'm going to go back through and do those later. So what I really want, it just defaults to like a post style space, but I don't want that. This is going to be kind of like my onboarding space. And I have to click into settings, and then it expands to all these other settings. Where even did it go? Customize. Yeah, it's still under here. So this layout should just be available in the second pop-up screen. I want a card style space because I want to have like essentially a pinned post and then 3 cards underneath of it to help sort the information. I've found this format works really well for like a kind of orientation space to help people understand who is this community for and how do I use it. So, save changes. With the card style space, what's really cool, I'm just gonna, you can come in here and you can say hide meta info. I always recommend this for making your post look a little bit more official. It won't include the date that it was posted or the author's name. Hide comments, hide likes, disable truncation. And then I also want this, another like weird, annoying admin thing, or like admin experience thing, is that you can't pin the post until after you publish it. Like there's no setting in here to just say like pin the post right away. You have to like publish it and then you have to pin it to the top. With the card style, you also cannot pin posts to the side. Like you saw kind of just a second ago how we had a sidebar. That goes away when you have a card style post. So there it is. Okay, so basically I'm gonna have my pin post. It'll have text here, and then beneath it will have 3 like cards that look like 3 big buttons. And that's what I want for this orientation space. But then I'm gonna create a new space group. I'm gonna call it for hosts. And this is gonna be hide from non-space members and create. So I'm going to have 2 like invitation links. I'm going to have a specific invitation link for hosts, and for guests, they're going to just be able to see this publicly. So I would just send them the link to the community. Let's see here. Let's make my video a little smaller. Maybe. Or not. Where did my hosts go? Oh, so I want this actually down below. I would add a space. Let's say I want a space for conversation. What is cool about Circle now is that they have these like custom emojis finally that you can add in, which is great. This is going to be a private space. Actually, I want this to be secret because I don't want, so for guests who come to this and can access it for free, I don't want them to like, sometimes for spaces like this, if you make this entire space group private but not secret, then people who join the community for free like can see the other public spaces. These will all be locked. But when you have a lot of like locked spaces, I think it becomes like a little bit of a frustrating experience where they like click into a new space, it's locked, new space, it's locked, new space, it's locked. So I just prefer to hide this entire group of spaces. And in the how to use this community space, I'm going to say like, hey, this is a community for hosts and for guests. If you're a host, apply here and you'll get access to the host spaces. But I don't like, a lot of communities love to like show all of the spaces and then lock like half of them. And I just think it's kind of a frustrating, like dumb experience. Not that the people are dumb, but just that design doesn't make sense to me. So this is just like a sense for the design process in Circle. I would have a space group for hosts, and then I would also create a space group for guests and have like materials. I have this all outlined somewhere else, but I'm going to move on to Heartbeat. I'm going to talk about why I wouldn't choose to build this community in Heartbeat, but how I have built communities in Heartbeat in the past. So let's move on to that. Oh, this is also a great time to mention that I have, if you're interested in like comparing the nitty gritty of all of the features between these three platforms, I have a platform comparison chart. It's like the number one question that I get, and it's my number one resource that I've shared. And it goes into tons of nitty gritty detail about all of the features in these three platforms. So check it out. The link is in the description. All right, moving into Heartbeat. This is the Hearth. I'm going to head into, that's their customer community. This is my community, and I actually built this community for a mastermind for other community consultants. We ended up sunsetting this community, and we don't actively use it now, but for the purposes of showing you how to set up a Heartbeat community, I wanted to bring you in here. So I'm not showing the onboarding experience with each of these platforms, but they all have like really helpful get started like tips and videos. You can choose in Circle and Heartbeat, you can choose like templates to that best fit your community. And then Mighty Networks has this like honestly super awesome AI tool that helps like create your community copy. So I'm not going to show you all of that. You can experience that for yourself. But here in Heartbeat, what I like about the functionality and the user experience, they have these two menus. This is like your community apps menu. And then some of the community apps will have this second menu. So for example, Threads, you can then create a like thread style space like this one, or you can create like a chat, or we also have a voice room, which you can enter. And then you have your direct messaging. Alternatively, this is the Docs app that we renamed Resources. And each of these resources becomes its own like card style document. And when you click in, you can nest additional docs underneath. So this is a great space to organize all of your content. And then finally, events. So the reason I would choose not to build this specific community in Heartbeat is because I know that for this community, I want a space that's going to be accessible to the public for free, which is all of those guest resources. We're also going to have like a directory for the camper van listings. So when a host signs up for a paid like membership with us to be a part of the host community, they're going to be able to post a listing of their van. And I want that listing space to also be accessible to the public. I don't want them to have to pay or for it to be gated or for them to have to log in order to see that information. Now, I don't normally recommend building communities like that. Like this is a very specific use case where that like dynamic between private and public makes sense. I don't normally recommend a freemium model where you have one targeted customer and they can access either the free community or your paid community. I don't think that model is helpful. But in my case, I have two different targets. I have my guests and then I have my camper van hosts, and they're two completely different people. So I'm just having two separate offerings in the same space. That being said, Heartbeat doesn't have the same private and public settings. You can certainly segment your community to create, I could create spaces for all of my hosts here and for all of my guests here, but hosts and guests would both need to join the community. And I'd like to take advantage of the advantages of SEO and keeping that all public without them requiring a login. So the perk of building in Heartbeat, and the main reason I tell my clients to build in Heartbeat, is if you're building a community that is going to leverage public events as a lead magnet into your community, then this is the platform for you. because when you create an event, let's just have a tester. Did I do that right? Okay, you can make this a public event, which means all of the admin functionality still exists in your community. Your community members can see that event, or at least the ones that you select can see that event. But then you can also, oh, none, no emails, because this is just a test. You can also share this page publicly, and this link will allow people to RSVP to your event without logging into the Heartbeat platform. It's the only community platform that has this event functionality. So if you know you use events to draw new members in and you want to host them publicly, but you don't want to have to introduce a whole other system to host those public events, like if you were doing it in Circle, you could use Luma, that tool. But if you want to keep it simple and have it all in one tool, Heartbeat is a great platform for you. In addition, I just wanted to show, because we don't have all of our community apps enabled here, but community sidebar. So we have threads. Threads have to be enabled, courses, docs, events, user directory, matchups, and analytics. So we took off a couple of these, but I'll enable courses just so that we can see what it looks like. If, on the other hand, I was starting like a fully private community and a membership community around how to build and launch your camper van business in Hawaii, I would strongly consider, I'd probably end up building it in Heartbeat over Circle. Because, like I mentioned with the event structure, probably how I would arrange that community is that we would attract new members by hosting like public workshops and events that would intrigue them and bring them into the community. And I'd have all of that functionality here in one platform. So let's make this evergreen test. So when you create a new course, it also creates a group for that course. One of the other reasons I love Heartbeat is their customer segmentation is, in my opinion, better than either of the other platforms. They use groups to segment members into, to categorize and segment members and differentiate between them. And those groups can help, you can provide differing access to different groups in threads, courses, resources, and events. And it's super easy to do. I do know that Mighty Networks has quite a bit of customization around customizing different paid elements. So that's a little bit different. Like this is customizing which groups can get what, and then your groups can have different like payment levels. But and actually, let's take a look at that. So that's our test course. Let's come in here. Here we have our monetization. So you have to set up Stripe, but then I think you can create, when you create a new product, yeah, it has your group set up. Remove from group, require sure. Okay, so you can select a group for that specific monetization. And then when you go back to manage groups, this is where you can create your groups. And then within each space, you can determine, if you don't set it as a default channel, you can search for which groups you want to have access to that channel. And same goes for courses, resources, events, and analytics. Or not analytics, but you get my point. So that's Heartbeat. And that's why I wouldn't build here, but it's still a fabulous platform to build on. And I wanted to give you a real life example and kind of show you what I've built here in the past. What's also really cool is that you can still have your pinned posts up here, which is great. Okay, let's move along to Mighty Networks. So I mocked up this community a couple days ago when I was testing out Mighty Networks, and because I'd heard that they'd had a refresh on their formatting and navigation, and I was super impressed compared to the chaos that it used to be. So Mighty Networks essentially like swiped a format from Circle, which I don't blame them because it's simple and not confusing, and their layout and navigation before was utterly confusing. So when we go in here, you have a collection, what they call a collection, and then spaces underneath. And what was really cool about getting onboarded with Mighty Networks is that they had this really sweet AI tool that like helped generate the community title and description, and you can sort through different options. So that was a cool feature. I don't know if it's like I still wouldn't let that like determine if I use this platform or not. I can certainly see how Mighty Networks is targeting. It seems to me like Mighty Networks is targeting smaller communities that start from scratch, getting them into Mighty Networks, and then they have to like continue to build in Mighty Networks is my assumption of their approach. So I would just caution and think through the long-term navigation. I do believe ultimately that you should build for where your community is at today and migrate tomorrow if you need to. But I still have a lot of hesitations about this platform. So let's dive into some of them. So here, I'll just walk you through what I did here. I created a space. And what is really nice is that they will show you right off the bat which like features are going to need an upgrade with your plan. I always hate it when tech tools like don't tell you that you're using features that are like going to cost you a lot more in like 7 days, but they don't tell you that. So I appreciate that transparency. What's interesting is that you have, so similar to how Circle, you created a space and it said, do you want it to be like a chat, posts, events, course? So this is really similar where you can pick one of these. But what's fascinating here is that you can, oh, where did it go? So see, this is like my critique with Mighty Networks is that now the backend admin user experience is still very confusing. So it's kind of like Circle. I can select public, private, or secret. I'm going to create the space. Okay, got it. So I created the space and now it asks me, that's just like kind of weird for me that it's like create the space, but then it has me like set up what the space is. Like have me select these features and then create the space. It's just like a weird flow. So you can select like up to all of these features, which was interesting. So I'll show you what this looks like when reflected. You can just, if you just have one, it becomes like, well, I'll just show you. Okay. So then, okay, okay, so I can upgrade for all these premium features. I can reorder these features. I guess it's saved. I don't love this. So it's like, it just took me to that page and then all of a sudden there's a back that takes me to a different page that I've never seen before. And then this takes me to another. So it's like all of a sudden I'm in network settings and I'm like, I just keep thinking this back is going to like take me to my space, but it doesn't. So here we have our test space. And so what happened here, because I selected multiple features for this same space, it opened up this like top, this like new header up here. So it's almost like you can kind of decide if you want to leverage like a left-hand toolbar or an upper toolbar. So you could just have like here they set this all up for me with a template. So it's like I could literally just have like community and then have all of my like different, they call them features, but I just like don't like that name. All of my different like programmatic elements in this horizontal toolbar, or I could break it down and do, oh wait, one, like each space on the left. Wait. Is that right? Why is it showing? Yes, this is a page. I'll just show you here. Okay. So in these settings, instead of having all of these features enabled, I just want, conversation. I just want conversation. So chat, I think. The way they name things is just like so not intuitive in here. It's so hard to pinpoint, but okay. Conversation. I thought I just enabled it to only be chat. Okay, this is confusing. So, okay, let's create a new space. I would like for it to be chat. I don't know why it's still showing events, members, and content. Like it seems like they're forcing you to still use this upper navigation, but they just repeat it in every single space. Huh. Wait. I didn't want events. I turned off events. Oh, no. Here it is. It's down below. Yeah, and then discovery is so nebulous and confusing to me what exactly that means. Discover what? And they do it so there's always this discovery space and it never ceases to confuse me. I guess so discovery to me seems more like a collection of feeds. Like here we have our top posts, a welcome checklist, and then feed is like also a collection. Like, is this feed the same as all of these top posts? Okay, let's go back into chat and just see why in the world it enabled. No, where did my settings go? Okay, there we go. Good Lord. Okay. Okay, I don't understand why I didn't select these. They all just turned on. Why did you bring me to this? I literally just turned off members. Why did you bring me? Okay, let's make sure all of these are off. I want to get rid of this horizontal side, like this horizontal menu. There we go. Okay, so essentially, my original assumption was correct. So you could create a space for chat, a space, you could call this events, a space for feed. I don't know why you would need another one because they like make you have it up here. Another space for discovery. So you could essentially formulate like your left-hand sidebar, or you could have like one space that opens up to this new horizontal menu. This is how it used to be. This is how Mighty Networks used to have their formatting. And it was so confusing because you have to like click into here in order to like see everything. And I really strongly prefer just having that left-hand menu and toolbar where you can use this real estate to build out your architecture. So I really do like their page feature. So it's kind of like a landing page, which is interesting and not, Circle doesn't have that. And then resources was another one that was interesting. I'd have to get in here and play with this. It seemed like you could almost like cheat and use this as a course if you didn't want to pay for their course functionality. I wonder if that's how like they get people kind of in, and then as their community grows they migrate it over to like a proper course, because you can include quizzes in this. So that would be my assumption of how people would use it before they like commit to the bigger package that includes the courses. So overall, like, massive improvement. I think like this, I could definitely make it work, make the Aloha Campervan community work in Mighty Networks. I think what I'm a little wary about is running into issues, and this will happen with every platform, running into issues where with the functionality that I have set up right now, I might be paying for a higher like premium plan, but I don't, for this community, I'm just testing, I'm getting started. I just want like basic functionality. I'm not, to be totally honest, I'm not as familiar with building in Mighty Networks. I never recommended them to my clients because the navigation was so awful. So now I'd have to like come in here and test a little bit more to know like really the ins and outs. With Circle and Heartbeat, I feel super confident. If I'm setting up this community, I've used them so much that I feel really familiar with what I'm going to have to pay for, what I'm going to have to work around. With Mighty Networks, it's a little bit more unknown for me. So for me personally, building this community, a part of me wants to build in Mighty Networks just so that I have that kind of test community that I can get to know this platform a little bit more. And another part of me knows the benefits of working in Circle and just wants to build here where I'm familiar. So this is my process for starting my own testing community. I hope it was helpful to see me weigh the pros and cons of each platform. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. But I hope this was a good peeling back of the layers of how you would architect and get started with your community in each of these platforms. All right. Thanks so much. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about platforms and community. Thanks.